to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, it's part of the show. Didn't they teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars? Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged, caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of Gish Galloping wars. No remedy can save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards, poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is delight in a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, I'm just too hard. I said, welcome to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know. Intoxicated eight makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate, forced to try and awake with a full plate, no one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates, but my brother, heaven could never be late, and rockets don't work in space. It's all fake, the show is on Mars, it's a joke, but you're too far gone, it won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond, and lives of truth that hits the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown and all of us wearing our holy crowns. Said the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along, just to go along. I said, welcome to the show where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, you don't know.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I have a special guest today. Very proud to have Mr. Edward Hendrie. Guy's book right here. See how much I have read this book. It's all highlighted. I really love it. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Edward Hendrie.
Well, thank you, and I'm flattered. I'm a fan of your work, by the way. So I think you've done some great stuff. I watched your video you just did recently, and what a fantastic job that you were able to dig up those old videos from Antarctica. Uh, Really interesting. And what I noticed was it doesn't matter what time of year it is. When you're in the northern hemisphere anyway, the sun always rises in the east, sets in the west, but it's just a matter of during a given time of year how high the sun is in the horizon. So with regard to many of the videos that you showed showing the sun rising and setting in the east and west in the northern sky from the southern hemisphere or Antarctica, it just the only difference would be how high it goes.
Yes.
And I think you made a really good point on that.
Yes. So everyone, Mr. Edward Hendrie, he's talking about a video that I made about 8 months ago when this whole thing started, the whole TFE. And he's talking about this video right here, the truth about Antarctica's midnight sun. So yes, I dug into the Brazilian uh, military base in Antarctica, and I was able to find, some good information because that was before this whole flat Earth thing came out. That was made in 2011, 2012, and let me show you something here, Mr. Edward. I think we're talking about this thing right here. I used this slide in the video. There was that military guy speaking in the middle winter when it's winter in Antarctica facing north. The sun rises here, he said northeast, and goes barely on around above the horizon and sets northwest. And in the summertime, Antarctic summer, it just comes right up to him and then goes back to northwest, but it's always facing north.
Yeah, it's always in the northern sky. Now,
I don't know
so
if you can see. I'm showing on the screen right now. So the military, the officer, he was explaining that when he's Antarctica, he faces north, and during their winter, the sun rises northeast, but goes barely above the horizon, and he only has like 1 or 2 hours of sunlight, and then the sun sets. But in their summer, the sun is still rises northeast, sets northwest, but it goes much higher, towards him. That's what he was explaining in the video. So I don't know if you can see. I'm displaying this image on the screen right now. All right, so Mr. We're going to be talking a bit more about the TFE, but I'm really interested in knowing how did you get to flat Earth? How was your, because we were all raised, in the public education and even college and stuff like that. We learned the heliocentric model. How did you figure out the whole thing?
well, that is such a great question, and it goes back to, I'm guessing, and I just have to go back to 2015 maybe, and I saw a video that was done. Um, well, in the video, there was a narration done by Rory Cooper, and he did an excellent job of explaining perspective. And it got me to thinking, and I started doing my own studying. Now, at that point, I was pretty convinced of a geocentric model anyway, but I was not aware, I just didn't know enough about the flat Earth and this. I was pretty convinced the Earth was stationary and that the sun and the planets rotated around the Earth. At least that was my view at that time. But as I started studying it and I started looking into all of the issues that he raised and then more, I was convinced that, in fact, the Earth was flat. So I was talking with my father, and he was in his 90s at that time. He's now deceased. And I was trying to convince him that the Earth is flat. Now, he thought that was the craziest thing he's ever heard. In an effort to convince him, I started sending him what I had found as far as evidence goes. And then I would call and ask him about that. And each time he was not convinced. So, okay, I brought him some more evidence. And as I started documenting it and laying it out for him, it started to get quite long. And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I should just put this in a book. And that's how The Greatest Lie on Earth became a book. I never intended to write a book. It was all an effort to convince my father. And as I started doing that and doing the research, um, I that's how the book came about. And that's, you know, but it all started with what Rory Cooper had to say. He had some really good stuff on perspective.
Exactly. He's a really great guy. Shout out to you, Rory. Sometimes we talk, we exchange emails. I have invited to him to be on the show, but he lives in very South Pacific. I think it towards the Maldives, whatever. And but I hope to have him on the show. As a matter of fact, Mr. Hendrie, Rory, I found people talking about him back in 2013. He had already flat Earth videos out there. So
Yeah.
he's really a pioneer.
Well, by the way, you'll notice that some of the stuff you inspired, by the way, some of the stuff that I had included in the book regarding emergency landings and flights. I believe I can't. I certainly it was some of the stuff that you had presented, and in fact, I cite you in my book for at least you're cited a couple of times in the book for your videos. Okay, so yeah, it's amazing what effect you have on other people, because that got me to thinking, and I did a lot of research on flights, how to explain some of these long haul flights, and then that got me into the jet stream. A lot of these long flights can be explained by the jet stream, which people don't account for.
Yes, definitely. It's pretty easy. Like I not long ago, I showed a document from 1961. It's a PDF document where they were encouraging airliners and airline companies to fly along the very southern, the the one along the ice wall or the Antarctic barrier, which reaches 250 knots. That's it's an amazing speed. And yes, I did find a recitation from the expanded version that you have. That's when I cover the speed of some of those aircrafts, not only along that area from Australia to Santiago, but also flights like from Egypt to I think it was like Europe, flights that reach 139 miles per hour, and a couple others. So yeah, those aircrafts, they fly much faster than we are taught, than we are told.
Well, Jaron Campanella, before he lost his mind, well, maybe he already lost his mind, I don't know. He actually did a pretty good program where he showed the jet stream on the northern azimuthal map, where you could construct the jet stream and watch the different elevations. And it's amazing what it reveals. And what they did when he started publishing that and putting videos out, they changed the website to no longer allow that. So you could no longer use the azimuthal, the North Pole azimuthal equidistant map to illustrate the jet stream, because it's circular. It's so clear.
Yes, it is so clear. We can tell, unfortunately, I think what happened, when we were going to be talking about the TFE. Shout out to Steve. Steve is a good friend. I know you recently made a video about him, and I mirrored one of his videos. Um, what I think happened with TFE, these people only they sold out. That's my explanation. We were talking over the phone yesterday, and I'm going to show you. This is a guy in Brazil, Mr. Henry. I don't know if you can see on your computer the screen.
Yes, I
This
can see him.
was the okay. this guy in Brazil, this happened in 2023, okay? He was the poster boy for Flat Earth, had 136,000 subscribers, had over 2,000 Flat Earth videos. And then what happened is sometime in 2023, he became friends. It's not that he started doing shows together with Globis and talking about that the Earth was a ball because of the Antarctic sun, And then what happened is he started to try to get money to go to Antarctica, okay, in 2023. But we all in Brazil, all the channels came after him because he was, saying that Earth was a ball. So he used the trip that he took to the North Pole back in 2022. He went to the press, BBC News, and proclaimed that Earth was a ball. That was in 2023. And then, as the media picked it up and made a big, he became the poster boy as the ex-flat earther. So what's happening to Jaron? It just like happened in 2023 in Brazil. It's like the same playbook, Mr. Hendrie. It's the same script, Jaron is just following what this guy did in 2023, But he was exposed. Yeah, he was exposed big time. Even his wife left him, after what he did. But he made money, but he disappeared. Nobody has ever heard from him. He lost his channel. So I don't wish anything bad to happen to Jaron. But when you do evil things, sometimes you get something back, and that's what these guys are sowing. They are sowing. They will eventually harvest what they are sowing.
Sure. And the important thing that people have to understand is why there is such an effort to conceal God's creation of a flat and stationary earth. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really think it's important because I don't hear it very often. And especially when you have a flat earther who maybe is not a Christian, try to explain why it's important. They fumble around with all kinds of things. And the reason that this is important is because God reveals in his word, the Holy Bible, that his creation reveals his character, his nature. He reveals who he is through his creation. And if you look in Romans chapter 1, he says so. He said, the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. So we can know about who God is through his creation. And that is what the devil does not want us to know. He does not want us to know the nature of God's creation, because God made an earth that is flat and stationary. The sun and the moon are in a firmament above us. And above that firmament are waters, and above that is heaven. And it's clearly stated in the Bible. And Jesus made the point that, if I have told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you heavenly things? And so he's told us these earthly things. And throughout the Bible, it's clearly described as a flat and stationary earth. Right at the beginning of Genesis, talks about him going across the face of the waters. Well, a face is a flat surface. You read that he's over the circle of the earth. Well, a circle is a flat. It's on a flat plane where all the points are equidistant from the center, but it's flat. It's not the same as a sphere. And throughout the Bible, he talks about the fact that the earth is stable. It cannot be moved, revealing his character, his glory. And the problem is the churches have been so completely infiltrated by Nicolaitan pastors who, if you mention the flat earth, they think it's irrelevant to the gospel because they view the gospel as a little sliver of the New Testament, when in fact the gospel is God's entire word from Genesis to Revelation. His creation is just as important as everything else in the Bible, the prophecies and salvation, because without knowledge of his creation, people will not understand salvation. And that's the important thing. That's why this is so, and that's why the governments of the world pull out all stops. There is no expense that they will. This is the ultimate conspiracy. This is the strong delusion that people are under. And this is why they went to such efforts with the final experiment, which is basically a parlor trick. It was a parlor trick. And I've uncovered evidence that they used computer-generated imagery during the final experiment. And we can talk about that. So I know that you've mirrored Nico's interview with me, but as you know, there were glitches on probably one of the most important parts of it, where I revealed where the CGI is, and perhaps we can look at that if you have an opportunity for your viewers, so they can see that, because that's really important. They have to understand that this was a trick, a dirty, rotten trick designed to conceal God's creation. And really, they're trying to conceal God. This is these people are in league with the devil.
Exactly. Let's go ahead and watch that. Shout out to my good friend Yuko Sakamoto-san. She's from Kyoto, and she's with us watching the show today. She's a big fan of you, Mr. Hendrie. And shout out to King Nico. I hope he's all right. So let's watch that part, because you picked up something that I had not picked up before. So let's take a look at this.
Let's go down on my website on this article. By the way, the article is called "The Final Experience is Not So Final," and I go through in detail, and you can pull up the videos. So everything I'm telling you about here is in this article right here, and it's called "The Final Experiment is Not So Final," and it's at GreatMountainPublishing.com. So all of the videos and the files are right there. Yeah. Now all right, so here is the video out, or the cloud I'm telling you about right there. So right now it's about a mile in the air. That's my estimate. It drops to about 3,000 feet here. So it drops to almost 2,000 feet, okay? So here it is right here, right above the latrine right there, all right? So as he walks, this cloud has dropped to about here in the sky. Well, what it is the computer program they used for the effects in the sky lopped onto that cloud and kept it in the upper part of the lens for his GoPro. They didn't adjust it, because when he got to here, that cloud should nowhere be around here at all, visible. So it's clearly a glitch in their computer program. Now the cloud's dropping.
It's in a W shape.
Dropping. It's staying right there. It goes.
Whoa! You can see it.
Up there, and it's going down, right behind the.
Yeah. So it did run smooth. Let's run it one more time, because this is a huge discrepancy, and I'm glad you were able to do the detective work and find this. And I'm going to definitely be sharing this a lot more and jumping over this, because what I see is exactly how you explained and described it. That cloud is not part of that fake sky.
Nope. And you can see the whole sky is morphing.
Unbelievable.
That's pretty clear evidence of CGI.
If you want to, I have your website here open, but if you want to share on your end, I just cannot
Yeah,
play videos.
all of this is on Great Mountain Publishing. So if you go in there, the most recent articles all deal with the final experiment, and I have a number of them in there. They said right at the outset that what they were trying to do, in fact, Duffy said so, that he was trying to rehabilitate, what was his name? Anthony Powell.
Oh, Anthony Powell.
He was
Anthony
trying to
Powell.
return Anthony Powell's good name. Yeah, because what happened was many years ago, Anthony Powell produced a documentary on Antarctica. And in part of that documentary, he showed what he purported to be the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. But that video was proven to be a fraud, okay? And he was embarrassed by it. They showed that it was a loop, that the same part of the video showed at the beginning and at the end. So if you go to the title of the article is the final experiment is not so final. If you go to the final experiment, it's not so final. In fact,
Okay.
am I able to share my screen with you? Let's see.
Yeah, if you want to send me the link,
Let's see.
and then
let's see. Do I want to show screen, share screen? Let's see. I'll go share screen.
Yes, share screen. Share the entire screen.
There we go. All right, I'll go to the final experiment. Share. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can now. Okay, that's all yours.
Okay, all right. So this is really interesting because in Anthony Powell's video, not only does he have the same mountains and the same clouds at the beginning and the end of his supposed 24-hour sun, but what he reveals in that during that that video, and let me show you here.
I'm going to go ahead and paste the link to
There's
your
an article
website.
I did just recently. It's called Video Glitches. So it's the very first article up there. Video Glitches in the Final Experiment. Okay, so if you look at his video where he shows the 24-hour sun, and I have his video on my website, so you can pull it up and watch it. He shows the sun, and it crosses this lamppost, okay? As it gets behind the lamppost, the computer program views the lamppost as a barrier to the sun, but I've drawn a red circle here where you can see where the sun should be. But that lamppost blocks out the entire sun. That does not happen in reality. This was computer-generated imagery to create a fake sun. Now, moments later, the sun appears from behind the lamppost, okay? And then it continues, and you'll see see this light right here? It's transparent, and then there's a bulb behind it, a translucent bulb. What happens is the sun is moving. I've drawn a red line around it, circle, and then as it moves along, oh, what happens? The sun goes behind the clear light, or the translucent light with a clear covering, and it blocks the sun. The program was not able to perceive that the object that was in the way was actually transparent. And so it was the sun did not show through the transparent bulb or transparent covering and translucent bulb. And then so after it passed, of course, the light showed up again. Now, in the final experiment, we saw a very similar glitch. So this is from Jaron's chest cam, and he's walking around, and you see the sun. I drew a circle around where and as he's walking, you see the sun starts to come down here where the camera is. Now there's a little bracket here, okay, a small bracket, a little thin bracket right there. You can see it right here. See this little thin bracket? The sun starts to go across that bracket, and as soon as it gets across that bracket, boom, blocks out the entire sun. Now that bracket's not thick enough to block out the sun, but the computer program doesn't know that. So it blocks out the entire sun, and then here it's completely blocked out, and then as it passes, it gets light again, and then it continues on its path. So these kinds of glitches are evidence of CGI.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I found out that Anthony Powell, he is a member of a club. It's called the Explorers Club, which is the same club that Buzz Aldrin is a member. So they are all connected.
He's a member of what club?
It's called the Explorers Club. Let me see if I find here this Explorers Club. It's it's a club. It's like just the top guys is in this club, Explorers Club. Let's see here, and it's like a Buzz Aldrin, Anthony Powell. They are members of this club right here. I'll show you. Let me share my screen.
Had some continuity.
Yeah. Hold on. I want you to come back. I just want to show you the club here. Is this one? Where is it? This one, the Explorers Club. Okay, and it's all about yeah. So it's about these people who explores goes to to those moon or can film the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. All those guys. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to show you. Yeah. So I wanna please go back to your website. Let me add. Okay.
Yeah, I want to make a point here because when I was on Nico's program, I was making the point that there was a continuity error where with Jonathan Miriandi, that when he was doing his live stream, the sun was not in the same spot in the sky as the supposed 360 time lapse. You'll see it's a little bit higher. All right, and I matched them up accordance with the mountains. Now, when I first discovered this, I thought that the time lapse that they first published was done on December 16th. So I thought it was the next day. I come to find out that they actually started it on the 14th, and when it passed this area, it was on the 15th, December 15th, at exactly the same time he was doing this. So these are actually at the same time.
Wow.
So
the sun is higher. One day
at first I thought it was the day off, and people could say, well, it's a different spot in the sun. But no, it was on the same day. Now, people might say, well, it's a different camera. Okay, so it'll show different heights. Well, I compared on December 14th at exactly the same time, and you'll see the same clouds here at exactly the same time with Duffy's live stream. You'll see the sun is exactly the same height as the 360 camera. Okay. So December 14th, same time, same location, exactly the same height, different cameras. Different cameras still showing the same height. So you can't argue, well, it's a different camera. No. And again, I use the mountains as a scale to scale this to exactly the same size. So it showed exactly the same. Here, the mountains, exactly the same. They're to scale. And another thing, he's almost in the same position as this time lapse of the supposed 360 degree 24-hour sun in Antarctica. How do I know that? Well, I went and looked at his video. Here's where he was standing, and you can see the stage that was used by Duffy.
Right.
For the 360 camera, it came around, and sure enough, it's right there. He was standing right over here when he was doing this. He's only about 10 feet away. So they're almost in exactly the same spot as the time-lapse picture. In the exact same spot, exact same time. Yet what do we have? We have the sun at a different height. This is a glitch in their computer programming.
Exactly. Yes. Wow. Yeah, that's a digital sky,
By the way, I previously had one showing Jaren as he approached the horizon. The sun got a different direction, but I was thinking about it and I was doing more research on it. That involved, I realized, too many assumptions. So I've taken that one down. I'm not that one. I'm not that. I'm not convinced I'm wrong. I'm not convinced I'm right. I just want to make sure it's nailed down. You can't put something out that's questionable because then all they'll do is focus on that. So I've taken that one down, and this one is rock solid. The exact same day, and the sun's in a different position. With Jaren, there were a couple of assumptions that I had to make, and I can't say with certainty that I can establish that my position on that is can be verified. I just can't verify it. That's all. Once I verify it, I'll put it back up, but I just can't verify it. So I don't want to go with anything that's that can be questionable.
I see. So what happened also, Mr. Hendrie, is like back in 2023, when I told you about this Brazilian guy, actually there is a person who works at Union Glacier from Brazil, all right? And I uploaded his video a couple of weeks ago where he says it's almost midnight, okay? He's talking to the camera, and he said, okay, it's 10 p.m. here in Antarctica, the sun is up, but he's facing north, okay? He's facing north with the Mount Rosman behind him. And the sun is right up on his face, with the shadow being cast south. So it cannot be 10 p.m. So they just lie because the sun cannot be in front of him at 10 p.m. and in 2 hours only go around the mountain behind him.
Exactly. Yep. I saw that. Yes. Yep. Now he wasn't there with that group with TFE, was he?
He was. And as a matter of fact, they met in the US in the summer of 2024. So this thing has been planned out. Yeah. I gotta find this whole video here.
No, I saw your video. I didn't realize that he was actually there. Now, he didn't fly over with them, did he?
No, he was already there. He works there.
Okay.
Yeah, he works there. But the funny thing is that I'm going to share my screen so I can, it might be a little bit slow because I have a lot of stuff online. So that's him right here. This is somewhere in the US. Okay. That's him right there with Mike Toon and Duffy. That was in the summer of 2024, somewhere in the US. And he's talking Portuguese. And he's saying here, oh, these guys are going to go to Antarctica, blah, blah, blah. And then he posts, that's him in a Brazilian TV giving an interview. And he's been asked for the 24-hour sun video time-lapse since he was in this show in 2020. He could never provide, okay? So then here, that's the Saturday, the December 15th, all right? That's when he says it's 10 p.m., all right? But look, he is facing north with the Mount Rosman behind him, all right? See, agora são 10 horas da noite. That's 10 p.m. at night. So, I mean, you can never tell, these guys are all liars. So, Mariande and Jaron, they can't be right there where you were pointing. But it could be, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., you never know.
Right. I don't know how they did this. When I look at the videos, I see things that don't look right, and I have an hypothesis that, okay, and by the way, I have checked dozens and dozens and dozens of different sun heights. The one with Jonathan Mariandy is the only one I was able to verify where it's a different height, okay? There are others where they're slightly different height, but it's not enough that you can actually see. But Mariandy one is pretty clear. Now here, when they first arrived there, they were given direction by the guides as to which way was south. And one guide said it was this way, okay, towards Mount Russman, over on this side. And then 35 seconds later, somebody asked him, well, where was that? And they had Jonathan Mariandy, he pulls out a compass, and he says, a little later on, oh no, south is this way. And their guide said south was. I'm guessing they had that somehow at the time they were doing this, there was some sort of augmented reality that they could see, perhaps in their glasses, okay? And that somehow they weren't able to get their bearings on what the proper direction was. So they had some augmented reality that perhaps they could see and interact with the mountains and the sun and everything else, much like the way the astronauts do on the ISS, where they interact with certain things, all right? And the augmented reality lens allows them to do that, but they somehow get confused. And there may be the possibility they used contact lenses. I don't know. That technology does, in fact, exist. There's a company called Mojo Vision. And about, I think 2 years ago, they were all over the news, the business news, with their development of augmented and virtual reality lenses that would be able to get a magnificent 14,000 pixels per inch, which is per square inch, which is an amazing amount. Your phone typically has about 300 to 500 pixels per square inch. And so with that kind of definition, they could have it really close to the eye, and they could have an augmented reality for a person. And they were able to miniaturize it. They had the contact lenses. But I went to their website just recently. There's no mention of those contact lenses. It's like they don't want to talk about it. They talk about their amazing lenses, 14,000, pixels per inch, and all the rest of the stuff. But they really, you really have to dig to find anything about their contact lens now. Were they using contact lenses in Antarctica? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. But the fact that they couldn't keep their direction straight tells me that there's something about that augmented reality where they're not actually able to tell direction. I'll give you another example. Jonathan Mariandy pointed south. That was 30 degrees west of where Jaron said south was. Duffy did the same thing. His south was also about 30 degrees west of where Jaron said south was. So they were all over the place in their directions. They were not consistent at all. And there were some other glitches that were notable, okay, but it's not enough to prove it's CGI. The ones I've shown you so far, I think are pretty good proof that they use CGI. How they were able to interact with it, I'm not sure. And you saw the seam that was in the video done by Winter Patriot. He was able to find that. He did a great job. And I went to try to find it after he discovered it, and I pulled it up immediately, went right to the spot in the video where he saw it, and it disappeared. It was gone. and he also could not find it later. And apparently, they've gone in and removed or blurred that line. Now, people say, "Oh, you can't do that. You have to re-upload it under." No, you can. They actually have the software. Google does. You can do it right on their platform where you can blur things. And it's theorized that's what they did. But I was able to find other seams in other areas because I went back and kept looking, and I was able to find others, and I have it on my website. And I think you played that the video where I explained that with Nico.
Yeah. Someone, shout out to Flat Pat, as posted a comment here. The sunglasses are augmented. They were all wearing sunglasses, and those could have been like Google glasses, smart glasses. That's one possibility right there.
Well, if you'll notice, Duffy, one thing I noticed about him, as soon as he went to come outside, he was frantic to get those glasses back on. And if you'll notice, who was the short guy from Australia? What did they call him? Critical Think. What he showed up with goggles the whole time. He was wearing goggles. Why? Why would he wear goggles? He may not have been somebody who could put contact lenses in, perhaps. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't wear the contact lenses all the time. That's why you'll notice that Jaron, when he walks into the latrine, and you look at him in the mirror, what's he wearing? Goggles. He was wearing sunglasses earlier, but now he's got ski goggles on. Now, sure, I get it. You can have snow blindness. It is a thing. I get that. Okay, it's the perfect excuse to have those kinds of goggles in augmented reality.
Yes. Yeah. Well, this whole thing, Mr. Hendrie, in my opinion, had been planned. Perhaps, if they did this in 2023 in Brazil, in US, they were planning at least since 2022 to early 2023. This whole thing has been planned, and there are many people, as you probably have seen, Duffy saying, we are planning to bury Flat Earth, to put Flat Earth to bed for good. He keeps saying we. So it's not just one guy, it's a team of, people behind it, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, and they have been planning this.
When the videos that they put out were shown to be frauds, time after time, I think that's when they decided we've got to do something about this. We've got to put this to bed. Too many people are catching on.
Exactly. I mean, it was fast, I think I was leaning towards the Me Code Studio. I think it's in Arkansas, I don't know. But I don't do shows a lot, I do once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. And then, when I saw that Nico got it with the Amazon Studio, I said, well, that's it. That's probably where they did it, with some similar technology,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what part of it's in the studio. It's really hard to say. But they were outside. We can see that. All right. And remember, Duffy said flat out that one of the purposes of this was to redeem Anthony Powell. And Anthony Powell was one of the technical consultants for this. So I think that the revelation of Anthony Powell's video being fraudulent was really a sticking point for them. They had to redeem themselves on that. And this was their way of doing that.
But they failed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they failed.
And the video looks It looks surreal. And by the way, where's all the raw video they said they were going to present? All we have is the stuff they came up with within a week of coming back, and that's it. There's nothing more. They said they had many terabytes.
Exactly.
And they were going to have all the dates. And this is really interesting. On the flight over, they showed 4 or 5 compasses on the plane showing that they were flying south. Suddenly, when they get there, I only saw 2 compasses. One from Miriandi, okay, and the other was Jaron, and he held it upside down. But everybody else had compasses on the plane, and you never saw a compass thereafter. Yeah. Nobody showed their watches, which is something Anthony Powell did when he showed, here's my watch, but this is what time it is. We never saw that.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that video, Jaron holding his compass upside down. I mean, he's just mocking, because Globers will believe anything. And it's just, I don't know if you watch it. This is a shout out to Kevin Bobick. He also put out an excellent video. But because he has a small channel, the video was there for like the whole day and had less than 100 views. And the video is just so good that I had to mirror, this one, how to spot a PSYOP. This is a great breakdown. It shows like Austin lying, one video saying, no, I didn't vape in Antarctica, and right next to it, oh yes, I did vape in Antarctica. I mean, so many contradictions.
Sure.
Yeah, so this is a great video.
Can you send me a link? Can you tell us what that link is?
I'm going to go ahead.
I'm always trying to learn something new.
This is excellent. Actually, even Steve placed the comments here. So I'm gonna.
What's his name? What's his name on YouTube? What does he go by?
Oh, this is Kevin. I'm gonna go to his channel right now, and Kevin Bobick. And he when I saw the video, he only had like 100 views. So I said, no, this is too good. It has to be seen by more people. Kevin Bobick, right here. So I mirrored the video, and actually Flatzoid just did 2 hours long on this. And actually he got more views now. But I'll go ahead and send you the link. I'm going to also post on the...
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
How to spot the PSYOP. It's just an excellent video. It shows here how they contradict themselves. And this guy is a U.S. Marine explaining how to identify the PSYOP. And everything this guy says, it's what the guys do. And he also plays here parts of the video where we have the scene right here from the Patriot. I forgot his whole channel. It's something Patriot 45, But it's an excellent video. Here's Duffy again lying. And you got here Mr. Whitsitt telling people, yes, he vaped.
Are you showing that on the screen? Because I only see my screen.
Oh, sorry. Let me share my screen. That's right.
My screen's up. Yeah, you got to put your screen up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This video right here. Okay. So Kevin Bobick. So I'm gonna send you the link. I had to mirror because in 12 hours he only had 100 views, and that's a just great video. He put it together. All right. So here is this guy here. He's a U.S. Marine Corps who specializes in identifying PSYOPs. Okay. So as he speaks about the PSYOPs, Kevin put together parts of the TFE. That's why it's called the Final Experiment Edition. And everything that this guy says falls into place to what these guys do. Exactly. Everything they do when they try to explain things. Right here, Austin is saying he did not vape at all. And right here, he says, yes, I did vape. A lot of contradictions. So this is a great video. So shout out to Kevin Bobick. I'm going to send you the link and paste it also on the chat right now. Okay. So let me remove this. But it's a great video. I watched it 2 times. Great video. These guys were caught, and they are just trying to Like they just had a round table, I guess. They're trying to savage this whole thing, but it's not going to stick anymore.
Well, you know what's hilarious regarding the vaping, and they talked about how they couldn't see their breath because it's so dry there. Well, what they don't get is, yes, in cold weather, the air is dry. That's why you can see your breath. In fact, the drier the air, the more breath you will see, because what you're actually seeing is the condensation of the moisture from your lungs. The warm air, the warm, moist air is condensing in the dry air. That's why you see your breath. And so when they kept coming out and saying, well, you can't see your breath because it's so dry here. Well, if it's dry, you would be able to see your breath. And by the way, not all the time in cold weather are you able to see your breath. So I don't make a big deal about that. But the fact that they would try so hard and actually go to the extent of vaping to fake breath makes me wonder why. Why were they? Where were they? I mean, that they thought that they had to do that is really that's a red flag, I think.
It is a big red flag. And a lot of other things that they faked, like uh, the inconsistencies on what they're speaking. Actually, there's a video of McToon walking, and what happens is the sun disappears, just like you show Anthony Powell's video. The sun completely disappears behind a pole, something like that, or antenna or something. So, a lot of inconsistencies and glitches. And the fact that they never provided any data, raw data, just as you mentioned, the telemetry data, nothing was provided.
Oh
Nothing.
yeah, yeah,
Timestamps were
yeah.
erased, many things.
Oh, when they tried to prove they were where they said they were, I think it was it McToon or no, it was who's the other guy? The other
Is that the Candace Owens filmmaker? Oh, McKeegan.
McKeegan gives a news article, not a news article, an article from NASA of all places that was written 2 days earlier to prove that he was there on December 15th. He gives a December 13th article. How does that make sense?
Exactly. I mean, everything, a lot of those videos, as I believe, they had 2 years of planning this whole thing. Some of the footage they got before, so they were able to. My idea, and that's also shout out to Seven Club, is a TikToker. The whole thing was already digitally prepared, and once they got to Punta Arenas or Antarctic, I don't know how far they went. They might have gone to one of those Deception Islands, Rothschild's Island, I don't know. They released the footage that they had already filmed in studio as being real, like live footage. That's one of my opinions.
Well, the one of the ways they could verify they were actually in Antarctica was that call that he was supposed to make to Steve.
Exactly. Never happened.
Yeah, that is a big, big deal because Duffy made it a big deal. He said, oh, yeah, this is so important. This will verify we're there. And then when he was there and he was supposed to make the live call, he didn't do it. And the excuse he made afterwards made no sense. So that's a big deal. It was supposed to be the final experiment, but one of the most important things to verify that they were actually there at that time with a midnight sun, he didn't do. That's very suspicious.
It is. And the way that Duffy lies. One time he said that my phone was dead, and then Steve blocked me. He couldn't call because he was blocked. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Duffy lies. He's a liar. Like he has no remorse. He just lies. Big time liar. And just to see, my phone was dead. I couldn't call. I was calling Candace Owens. I don't know. He was on a live stream with Candace Owen, and then no, Steve blocked me. His story changes. Such a liar.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, some of the stuff he was saying, it's yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Henry, I want to call out some guys here because I was very disappointed. Some people, they are trying to protect them, at all costs. I don't know why. And they had a round table there. They pretended there is a 24-hour sun. There's still guys who said, no, there is a 24 sun. So I'm really disappointed, all these guys here, David Wise, Austin Whitsitt, Martin Leeds, Rick Rummer, Karen B, all these guys here, because they shouldn't be there. There's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. They fake the whole thing. The Bible,
Wait.
it's very clear what the Bible says.
All of these people you have listed there who were flat earthers now believe that there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Yeah, kind of. They are defending there is one, and I'm very disappointed because most of them are not biblical flat earthers. That's the thing. They call
Yeah.
us. They don't like biblical flat earthers. They try to shut us away. So they have their own theories. They are working together. But it's very disappointing. Another thing, Mr.
Yep.
Hendrie, these are the guys, there was supposedly a marathon in Antarctica at the same time when they were there filming. Okay. So where are the 24-hour sun footage from all these people who were supposedly there running? We got 54 men and about I don't know, 20 women. All
Really
supposedly,
interesting.
yeah, they were there. That's 24-hour sun. They even say
Interesting.
they were there. Where is Andrea Boano's video of the 24-hour sun? Where is Alexei Ferrisberry 24-hour sun video? All these people were there. Why were not them all together filming the 24 sun? Just like it happens in the Arctic. They all sit down and they film the 24-hour sun. Why? Why those people don't show in their, Facebook or Instagram? Where are their videos of the 24-hour sun? All
Good
those
point.
people here, that's 2024. Okay, all these people here, about 80 people altogether. All right, so it's just like demonstrates, as you were pointing out, and that's why the biblical aspect of flat earth is so important because these guys, they want to hide the God of the Bible. That's their main goal. It's to hide the God. They can bring any God. Any other God is okay, except the God of the Bible, except the Creator, as John 1:1 says that Jesus Christ was, co-creator of everything. It's they hate Jesus Christ. That's the point.
Yep. Yep. And Duffy, interesting. Duffy uses, and by the way, Whitsitt does the same thing. Actually, it's more Whitsitt I've noticed. Do you realize how Whitsitt refers to God? The same way Jaron does.
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting? They always call God the Creator. Whitsitt calls God the Creator. He won't say Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Jaron is very blasphemous toward Jesus Christ, but Jaron, when he refers to God, calls him the Creator. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Can two walk together except they agree? See?
Yes.
So, and interesting about Duffy, you mentioned about how he lies. He preached that lying is okay, and right out the outset, there was a guy named Sean Griffin who interviewed him and asked him, "Hey, what's this deal about the final experiment? Do you know anything about that?" He says, "Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I don't know who's behind it. No." And he was the one allegedly behind it, and he lied, and he had to come out and apologize and say, "I lied." Blah 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 blah. He's just a liar.
He lies. It's natural. It's like natural to him.
I don't believe he is the funder. I don't think he's the front man, but I don't believe he's funding that. Not for a minute.
Yeah,
he's a front man.
Exactly. I believe it's a team. There are many people behind this stuff that we don't know, but Yeah, he just lies, he has no remorse and he lies. It's just like, when Jesus says the devil's a liar, and when he lies, he's just doing what is, from his nature, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah, a lot of things. So a lot of people here shouting out to you. They got your book, and you know, so good people here. We have about 150 people present. Mr. Hendrie, we're gonna take a short break. I'm gonna play a song, and then when we come back, we should be have another 10 to 15 minutes. My live streams are normally last, 70, 80 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a short break. I'm gonna play a song here. I'm gonna play a. Let me see here which song I'm gonna play. I think I'm gonna play a song related to. Mm, this one here. Okay, we should be back in about 4 minutes.
Okay.
Don't believe the papers. Don't believe the news. 'Cause all that they serve you are opinionated views. Don't switch on my TV, 'cause all they do is lie. And I don't need no programming telling me what to buy. But I believe the truth will set you free. I believe the truth will set you free. Don't believe in aliens. I don't believe the news. I don't believe in war. What are the reasons why they're for? Don't believe celebrities pretending to be what they ain't. Make poverty history, they say, bold in the same. But I believe the truth will set you free. I believe the truth will set you free. I believe the truth will set you free. Don't believe the justice system will give you what you deserve. It's all rampant judges and Lucifer they serve. Don't believe banks are honest, they fleece you to the bone. And when there's nothing left to get, they'll even take you home. But I believe the truth will set you free. 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 Don't believe the papers, don't believe the news, 'cause all that they serve you are opinionated views. I don't switch on my TV, 'cause all they do is lie. I don't need no programming telling me what to buy. But I believe the truth will set you free. I believe the truth will set set you free. I believe the truth will set you, truth will set you free. I believe the 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 truth will set you free.
The show, we are here with Mr. Edward Hendrie, author of The Greatest Lie on Earth. An excellent book, and my book is all. You guys can see here how highlighted it is because I love this book. I've read it, 2 times, and every time I read, I always find something interesting to share. So if you got a chance, this is I placed Mr. Hendrie's website in the chat. You can go there, and you can see here there's a tab for books if you want to order more, and there are excellent. I want to order a couple more, but Mr.
But
Hendrie,
by the
I
way,
live in
they're
Japan.
available. They're available at a discount from the website, so you can get them at a discount if you order them directly from the website. Cuts out the middleman. You don't go to Amazon. You just you can get them directly from the printer.
Okay,
So if you go to on my website where it says books, just click right there. You go to books, and all of them. You go down, and you'll see there's a link for buying direct, and it's a lot cheaper. And also, I've got another book called The Sphere of Influence, and that book goes into great detail on the biblical. There's a bigger picture if you go up further. There you go.
Yes,
and it goes into detail on the if you click on that, it takes you to the Google page. But if you go down to order, go down further, and you'll get the discount. Right there where the arrow is. Okay. That's the discount. So it goes into detail on what's going on in the churches and the biblical authority for the flat and stationary earth and why it's important and what people are going through in the churches today, what's wrong with the churches. It talks about the Nicolaitan model that God hates, and that Nicolaitan model is what is keeping the truth of God's creation of a flat and stationary earth out of the churches. In fact, many times I know many people who are just they're told if you bring that up again, you won't be welcome in this church. They don't want to hear it.
Some churches in Brazil, I don't know if you heard, Mr. Hendrie, Brazil has had extremely high growth in flat earthers, and we estimate today about 20 million flat earthers in Brazil. There are 4 politicians, not big, not like congressmen, but statewide or city. We have 4 politicians who are flat earthers, and so there are some churches in Brazil who threaten to expel members if they bring up the flat earth subject. Like some church, like Adventist church in Brazil, I know did this, and some others, because the growth has been like exponentially high, and churches are afraid. They shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, the devil's afraid the word will get out. A lot of people have been saved by the grace of God, of course, but he uses the gospel. That's the means by which he saves. And what happens is when people realize the nature of God's creation, they seek the gospel. They read God's word. And God uses his word to, by his grace, save his elect.
Yes, there are so many testimonies, and it's amazing. I hear testimonies from the English-speaking people, but I also have a lot of testimonies in Brazil of people, And in Brazil, what happens, the people who are coming to flat Earth, it's like geophysicists, like engineers. I have good friends like architects, and they are all coming to flat Earth. It's amazing. Doctors and stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's really, I went to my daughter's church. We live in Japan, so there are not many Christians here, about 1% of the population. And I was disappointed because I went to her church. I went to visit there once, and the pastor, I don't know if he knew I'm a flat earther, but he was preaching and saying like how flat earth is stupid. I was like, so I never went back to his church. I mean, I never went back there.
Well, I make the point. I make the point in my book. There's a difference between ignorance and willful ignorance. So,
Yeah.
a pastor who will come against something that they know about. In other words, they've read the Bible, they know what the Bible says, but then they'll come against what Scripture says, and they'll try to say it's poetic language. That, okay, what God said about creation of man, you can take literally, but creation of the earth, no, you can't take. That's poetic. That's poetic. We see a lot of that in creation scientists who they'll say, oh yes, God created man in His image, and it was on 7 literal days, and they're against evolution. But the minute you bring up a flat and stationary Earth, oh no, that's wackiness. You're out of your mind, and they'll call you every name in the book and try to humiliate you. That's what it is. It's the devil tries to use humiliation to dissuade from knowing the truth.
Yeah. So I have just like one more question. Do you go to a local church there, Mr. Hendrie? Do you have a local church? Do you like have fellowship with Christians and flat earthers?
I do have fellowship, but I don't go to your typical church. So anytime 2 or more are gathered in His name, there He is among them. So most churches are Nicolaitan churches. So what do I mean by that? God hates the Nicolaitans, He says in the book of Revelation. And what is a Nicolaitan? Well, the word itself tells you what he means by that word. So Nico means to rule. Okay. And Laetan is the laity, to rule over the laity. When you have somebody who stands up on an elevated podium above the church and stands there and spouts to the church, and you cannot question what he says, and he is the authority. They call him a pastor, they call him the clergy, they call him whatever name you give him, the Pope, the bishop, Protestant, Catholic, doesn't matter. That's a Nicolaitan model which God hates. Remember, all Christians are kings and priests. And when you gather, you can learn and you can teach. And you should be able to have input into what is being, and you should be like Bereans, check everything against what God's word says. But guess what? In these Nicolaitan churches, you can't. The minute you question what the pastor says, you'll be out on your ear. They don't want to hear it. You can't question them. It's a Nicolaitan model, and all of the churches have fallen into that trap. And they use that as a barrier to keep the truths of the gospel out, like the flat and stationary or God's true creation.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing teaching right there. Thanks. All right, guys, we are approaching the end of our show today. We had a great time with Mr. Edward Hendrie. I really appreciate. I have been a big fan of you. Got your book. I think it was back in 2016. I got my book. 17. I don't remember. And amazing book. Thank you. To me, it's an honor for me to have you here. And you feel free anytime you want to, I do shows 2, 3 times a month, sometimes only twice a month. Next week, I will not have show, guys. I'm still doing my taxes. I'm still dealing with passports, stuff like that. A lot of bureaucracy here in Japan. I have to go to the Brazilian consulate, all that stuff. But hopefully by the end of the month, things are going to go back to normal. So, Mr. Hendrie, I would like you to say your words to the people today, and appreciate you for being here. Go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and it was good talking to you. And again, I'm a fan of your work as well. So thank you for those kind words.
Thank you. So you're welcome. Anytime you want to join me again, please let me know. We will set up another show. Okay. So,
Right.
guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and close the show with Dave J. Carroll's song. Thanks. I will not have a show next week. I'm still doing taxi stuff. My daughter is graduating on Monday, but I hope to be back on the 17th. On the 16th. So thanks, everyone. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wonderful, magical, celestial light, fantastical, mystical, wonderful sight. Belgian Swiss physicist Auguste Piccard, 1931, first to reach for the stars, was the first to explore the air view stratosphereus, a scientist curious to see what was there. An aluminium black ball on a helium balloon, with photos and instruments, sailed towards the moon, rose in just half an hour, 52,000 feet, 10 miles of dense air pressure, up a dead drop in heat and cold, but disproving gravity. Wonderful, mystical, beautiful sight, flat line separation of black from blue light, a world run by deceivers, false make-believers, hiding in shadows, stealing our light. Mystical, fluorescent light, wonderful, magical, awesome, yes, stealing our light. Wonderful, legendary light, supernatural, eternal, up we go, higher than rainbows, higher than mountains, above cumulonimbus, higher than air, high-level horizon, 360 around us, but right round behind us, any height that you dare. The sun and the moon both revolve above around us, to forever show time fast, intelligently there. You'll never beat us, you'll never defeat us, no more you deceive us, you through you like air. Kipper and Picard were the first ever known to reach up there. Divine luminescent light, mystical, wonderful, celestial light. So what was their eternal testimony? What did they report back to humanity? Said it seemed like a flat disk far as eyes can see, with an upturned edge fading into infinity. A mystical, ethereal, celestial sight, a divine creation, a clockwork of light, designed hid by deceivers and false make-believers, still cowering in shadows, still fearing our light. Here we go, higher than Everest, higher than airplanes, above zero cumulus, higher than air, a level horizon, 360 around us, no motion beneath us, no spinning, no stars on the firmament, time all around us, to forever show time fast, geometrically there. when they reach for the stars. Explorers and physicists, Kipper and Picard. Never you'll defeat us, forever beneath us. We see through you like air.